The story you often hear is simple, a narrative readily consumed by the masses. It's painted as ancient hatreds, deep-seated religious divides, a clash of civilizations rooted in history. An inevitable clash, they say, between a Jewish state and an Islamic republic destined to be at odds. But this is a dangerous oversimplification, a convenient narrative that obscures the truth. The Iran-Israel conflict is not fundamentally about theology or sacred land. It's a modern geopolitical struggle, carefully shaped by power dynamics, strategic calculations, and raw economic ambition. Before the seismic shift of 1979, Iran and Israel were remarkably quiet allies, sharing vital intelligence and cooperating on significant military and economic projects, both acting as key U.S. partners in the volatile Middle East. The Iranian Revolution irrevocably changed everything. Iran's new revolutionary regime defined itself in stark opposition to the US and almost inevitably by extension, to Israel. Israel was branded as the Little Satan, a convenient and easily identifiable enemy for Iran's leaders to rally domestic support and project power outwards into the region. For Israel, a perpetually hostile Iran conveniently justified a rapid military buildup and unwavering Western backing and financial aid. Religion, therefore, became a powerful tool, useful for mass mobilization and stirring up fervent emotions, but it is certainly not the fundamental driver of this complex and ever-evolving conflict. The real contest lies in the relentless pursuit of regional dominance, the strategic control of vital trade routes, and ultimately, regime survival for both nations. Flags and carefully crafted slogans are primarily for public consumption and external messaging. The real high-stakes game is played behind closed doors, in the hushed corridors of power. The conflict is not some timeless, preordained struggle or an inevitable clash of civilizations. It's the direct result of constantly shifting alliances, meticulously calculated interests, and pragmatic decision-making. Both sides skillfully use the convenient narrative of an existential threat to distract their populations from pressing internal problems and economic woes. The pervasive animosity is carefully manufactured and strategically amplified, not divinely fated or historically predetermined. Therefore, to truly understand the complexities of this enduring conflict, you must look past the sensational headlines and ask the crucial question: who truly benefits from this seemingly perpetual state of hostility and tension? The uncomfortable answer is that it's almost never the ordinary people, the civilians caught in the crossfire and struggling to survive in the middle. The true and often unsettling story is deliberately buried beneath layers of carefully crafted propaganda and calculated power plays. Only by digging far deeper beyond the surface narratives can we begin to see the real and often obscured forces at work in this intricate geopolitical chess game. For leaders in Tehran and Tel Aviv, the conflict is a powerful distraction. It unites citizens against an external enemy, silencing dissent and pushing economic and social issues aside. In Iran, Israel is blamed for domestic woes. In Israel, Iran justifies military spending and political unity. Each side's threats empower hardliners and marginalize moderates. The cycle of fear and hostility keeps both governments in control. Peace would force leaders to address internal challenges, so the conflict is managed, not solved. Ordinary people pay the price, their fears manipulated for political gain. The Iran-Israel conflict isn't just a local dispute, it's a complex stage, a theater for global power struggles. It's a game of geopolitical chess with very high stakes. The major players include especially the US, Russia, and China, each with their own strategic interests in the region. The US arms and supports Israel, providing crucial military and economic assistance. It uses the conflict to justify its military presence, maintaining a strong foothold. This allows the US to exert control over Middle Eastern energy resources, which are vital to the global economy. Russia, on the other hand, backs Iran, primarily to counter US influence in the region and assert its own power. It achieves this by selling arms and cooperating with Iran in places like Syria, where they both have significant strategic interests. In many ways, both superpowers benefit from a region perpetually in turmoil. The ongoing instability keeps rivals distracted and preoccupied. This also keeps arms sales booming, enriching the military-industrial complexes of these nations. The great powers are far from neutral arbiters. They actively stoke the conflict, often with hidden agendas, to advance their own interests. Regional leaders play their roles in this complex game, but the script is often largely written and influenced in Washington and Moscow, where the major decisions are made. The conflict is deliberately kept simmering, never truly resolved, all to serve the global ambitions and strategic goals of these powerful nations. Tragically, ordinary lives become mere collateral in this dangerous shadow play. At the heart of the conflict is control over oil and the routes it travels. The US presence ensures the flow of oil and the dominance of the dollar. An aggressive Iran threatens this order, prompting massive arms sales to Gulf states and Israel. The arms industry profits from perpetual instability. Iran projects power through proxies, challenging Israel and the US indirectly. Israel, with US backing, seeks to maintain regional supremacy. The struggle is less about ideology and more about raw power, oil, and profit. Peace threatens the interests of those who benefit most from war. The real cost of these conflicts is not measured in dollars or political gains, but is paid by ordinary people, like Iranians suffering under sanctions, facing economic hardship and uncertainty, and Israelis living in fear, under the constant threat of violence, their daily lives disrupted by conflict. It's the civilians caught in proxy wars, displaced from their homes and torn apart from their loved ones. Resources are diverted from essential services like education and healthcare, leaving communities vulnerable. Instead of investing in human well-being, funds are channeled to military budgets, fueling further conflict. The media often reduces the complex conflict to a simplistic narrative of good versus evil, ignoring the underlying causes, suppressing nuance and silencing the voices advocating for peace and understanding. Therefore, we must question the dominant narratives, ask who truly benefits from these conflicts, and actively seek out alternative perspectives and sources of information. The path to lasting peace begins with critical inquiry, open dialogue, and genuine empathy for all involved. The true enemy is not the person across the border who shares similar hopes and dreams, but the systems of power that profit from division, fear, and perpetual conflict. Only by seeing through the propaganda and recognizing the forces at play can we collectively imagine and build a different, more peaceful and just future for all.